call may contain forward-looking statements about the company, which are based on the beliefs, opinions, and expectations of the company as on date of this call. These statements are not the guarantees of future performance and involve risks and uncertainties that are difficult to predict. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference, please signal an operator by pressing star and then 0 on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Siddharth Mundra, CEO of Shankar Building Products Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to our Q4 FY20 earnings conference call. Today, I am joined by Mr. Sukumar Srinivas, MD, Mr. Alex Verghese, CFO, and Strategic Growth Advisors, our investor relation advisors. We have uploaded our updated result presentation on the exchanges, and I hope everybody had an opportunity to go through the same. Let me give you a quick snapshot on our Q4 performance. We have reported a strong quarter with volume growth of 14% on a YOY basis. If we consider the months of Jan and Feb, our volume growth stood at 23%. Our revenues for Q4 FY20 stands at 667 crores, a growth of 12% as compared to the same quarter last year. Our PAT for the quarter grew by 4.25 times to 11 crores. Our revenues for FY20 grew by 4%. Our PAT growth for FY20 was 48%, with absolute PAT of 42 crores as compared to 28 crores last year. Our PAT margins for the year stood at 1.6%, half a percentage point higher as compared to last year. This performance has come in the challenging situation of COVID-19 in the latter half of March 2020. Our performance has largely been on target from a P&L perspective. However, the lockdown impacted our cash flows, which has led to a higher overall debt position. The lockdown necessitated by COVID-19 has impacted business activity all across. In keeping with government announcements and as a part of prudent safety measures for our staff, all our business activities across stores, warehouses, vehicle fleet, factories and offices were shut down since the latter part of March 2020. While some locations have recommenced activity from early May 2020, some parts of our network are still impacted because of the local lockdown measures. We have taken some measures as a part of this new business environment. Employee safety continues to be paramount. Relevant social distancing and workplace guidelines have been communicated in all our workplace locations. The key aspect during this period becomes liquidity, and we are conserving that as far as possible. We have ensured that we have adequate fund availability to maintain our business operations at the current level. We have continuous discussions with customers to ensure that business rotation continues while reducing overall outstandings. We are also looking at serving customers from our existing stock. We are engaging with our creditors and working along with them to ease cash flows. Fresh CapEx projects are currently on hold, with only ongoing necessary CapEx being completed. The other key element that we are focusing on is cost control, and we are relooking at our cost structures and rationalizing the same according to the current needs of the business. On the store count front, we currently have 115 stores, and we have shut down 5 stores across locations. Digital channels and technology also become imperative to deal with such situations. We have provided sufficient technology and infrastructure support to enable work from home for our staff. We have also provided online channels to reach out to customers for contactless sales. On the operational current status, we started our operations in the first week of 2020 in a staggered manner across our geographies based on state and local restrictions. Currently, about 70% of our locations are operational. Activities are picking up based on local conditions. Karnataka is our largest state in terms of revenue and has been impacted lesser as of now by the COVID-19 situation. A large part of our business comes from Tier 2 and 3 locations, which has also helped us normalize operations faster. For locations which are not operational, we are engaging with our customers, helping them with supplies wherever feasible. We see some pent-up demand for pending projects. There is no decline in demand from the irrigation segment. Let me take you through the details of the last quarter performance. Despite the loss of revenue for the last 10-15 days of March 2020, our consolidated revenue stood at 667 crores in Q4 FY20 as compared to 598 crores in Q4 FY19, an increase of 12%. Revenue growth for Jan and Feb 2020 stood at 19% as compared to the same period last year. EBITDA for Q4 FY20 stood at 27 crores as compared to 15.5 crores in Q4 FY19, a growth of 74% on a YOY basis. Our revenues for the full year stood at 2,640 crores as compared to 2,546 crores last year, a growth of 4%. EBITDA for FY20 stood at 117 crores as compared to 99.5 crores in FY19, representing a growth of 18%. Retail segment now contributes to 55% of our overall revenues. Our retail EBITDA margin for FY20 stood at 8% with a retail EBITDA of 115.6 crores. This EBITDA margin is at the higher end of the 6 to 8% that we had guided earlier. PAT for Q4 FY20 stood at 10.9 crores as compared to 2.6 crores in Q4 FY19, a growth of 4.25 times. PAT FY20 stood at 42 crores as compared to 28 crores, a growth of 48%. Our net debt and acceptances for FY20 stood at 340 crores. The last quarter is generally good for us from a revenue and cash flow perspective. We continue to be focused on our overall debt position and liquidity and will further aim to reduce it during the course of this year. Now let us focus on the segmental performance of the company. The retail segment for Q4 FY20 stood at 365 crores as compared to 352 crores last year. Retail EBITDA stood at 29 crores with a retail margin of 7.9% for Q4. Retail EBITDA for the full year stood at 116 crores with a margin of 8%. We have recently shut down 5 stores, and subsequent to that, our current network strength stands at 115 stores. We will continue to examine our network closely to see if there are opportunities to further rationalize. Our comparable sales growth for Q4 FY20 stands at 6.5%. However, our comparable sales growth for Jan and Feb alone stood at 21.5%. Average rental cost for leased outlets stood at just less than 20 rupees per square feet for FY20. We are looking to renegotiate on the rentals on our leased properties. The total area of the stores comes to around 5.4 lakh square feet with an average store size of 4,500 square feet. Average ticket size per transaction was around 29,000 for FY20. Channel and enterprise sales for Q4 stood at 302 crores and contributed to 45% of the consolidated revenue of the company. These segments have shown a healthy growth during the quarter. Post-lockdown also we see the channel segment continuing to show good growth while the enterprise segment has been impacted. Top 10 customers continue to contribute around 12% of enterprise segment revenue. A few highlights on our processing divisions. Our company has 13 processing facilities with a capacity utilization of around 65% for the quarter. Sale from our own products contributed to 25% of total sales. We anticipate the processing units to operate at lower utilization levels for the near term. We believe that the current environment context continues to be uncertain. While in May we have seen some traction in revenues, we need to assess the sustainability of this going forward. We will continue to be watchful and keep a sharp focus on liquidity and cost control measures to align ourselves to the new business reality. Given the trend in May 2020, we are confident that we will tide the situation in the ensuing months. With this, I open the floor for discussion.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Saumil Mehta from BNP Paribas Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Hi, team. Good set of numbers on the P&L front. A couple of questions from my side. First is, while we are embarking on the restructuring exercises on the retail part, also visible from the stores which have been shut, are we nearing an end to the restructuring in the retail, which we started a couple of quarters back? And or do we use this COVID opportunity to further streamline some of the stores in retail? And subsequent to that, for the stores which have been closed, any particular financial matrix which we were looking at as in terms of margins or cash burn? That's my first question.
So we will continue to look at the network, and we may take a few more calls on some of our stores. So as of now, we have taken a call on these 5 stores. And the way we look at it is in terms of ensuring that the stores are able to cover their fixed costs for themselves. That becomes one of the first key metric for us to look at, that the store is sustainable. And we generally give 18 to 24 months for us to see that, and then we take this call.
Okay, so is it fair to assume that over the last 1 year, from 134 to 115, where we have these 20 stores would have had cash losses? Is that a fair assumption?
Or they would have been on the margin, yes, with us possibly not seeing an opportunity for us to scale up substantially.
Okay, perfect. And second is on the volume growth, the healthy volume growth which we saw for the first 2 months. Is that growth a bit broad-based, as in between steel and non-steel, and in non-steel business, any particular pockets where we've seen a better growth?
Yeah, it's largely been broad-based actually, all across.
Okay, so between steel and non-steel, both have done, there has been a healthy volume growth.
Yes.
Okay. And the last question is in terms of the stores which have been open till date post-COVID, how has been the experience in terms of, where you are versus the normative sales? You achieved 50% of sales, 60% of sales. Any qualitative guidance over the experience so far?
See, for the month of May, we have largely been at around 55-60% of our normalized sales. We also feel that the walk-ins though have come down. Some of these projects may have been linked to pent-up demand, and yeah.
So I'll just take that question. This is Sukumar here. So one of the key things that we've been observing in the month of May was pretty funny in a way, because Karnataka was sort of opened up, so Kerala, and luckily for us, this is our number 1 and 2 state. So the experience is that in the smaller towns, the business started becoming somewhat normal, I would say, in the sense even the walk-ins were fairly okay. It was not a substantial drop. It is the big cities as is the ones that are really still, I think the pain is much greater in the bigger urban centers, which have which we are yet to see a sort of attraction. Though the shops are open and there's a fair amount of, opening up that is happening in phases. But I think 2-tier, 3-tier is where business is sort of resuming, I would say, to a normalcy.
Perfect. And sorry for the last one again. In terms of store expansion, while, at what particular point we see the growth in the store expansion is going to be FY23 or, maybe FY24, or when do we see the number of stores going up now?
I think the current trend is that we come out reasonably strong by the end of the year. So like you mentioned earlier, is there any restructuring happening within? Yes, there is a certain amount of restructuring, further rationalization of products, etc. It's certainly happening. But in terms of new store opening, I cannot give you a definite answer and say it would be 24 or 23 at this point of time. We would really like to wait out a couple of quarters. I mean, if let's say by the 4th quarter, if things are looking fairly good, new stores could start reopening even in the very next year itself. But it's too early days to give a very definite reply to that.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and one. Our next question is from the line of Siddharth Rajpurohit from JHP Securities. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, can you please give me the breakup of sales between Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 cities?
40% of our sales comes from Tier 1. 60% is from Tier 2 and Tier 3.
Any breakup possible further, sir, between Tier 2 and Tier 3?
Yeah. Just a second.
Yeah, please.
So around 25% would be from Tier 2 and around 35% would be from Tier 3.
Okay. And what will be credit sales as a percentage of retail sales, sir? And for enterprise and retail, if you can give separate, please, sir.
It will be around 50-50.
This was the trend.
Enterprise and...
This was the trend. Today, obviously, with the liquidity and cash generation being given greater focus, we are, I can say, almost reduced our credit sales by close to, today the current ratio, I would say, is 80-20 in favor of cash.
Okay. Yes. And sir, what has led to this sharp, sharp increase in the receivables, which has also impacted largely our cash flow, and
Yes.
Q1Q has gone up sharply. If you can give more details, please, sir, that what in just because the lockdown say was maximum say impacted 8 days, 10 days.
See, actually,
please,
yeah.
if you can explain.
Yeah, the increase in the receivables happened in the end of the quarter last year, primarily because 10 days, almost 15 days we were shut down, depending on the location. 10 days everywhere, and in some locations it was more. I'm talking of the month of March. Normally, a lot of, enterprise business orders which are linked to the government sector the last 10 days is very, very critical in terms of receivables. Normally, in that 10 to 15 days that we were shut down, we would have collected anywhere between 80 to 100 crores with a corresponding sale of around 40 to 50 crores that would have happened in that period. So I can say net off we have lost in terms of receivables in the quarter end of or the year end of 2019-20 close to around 50-60 crores. So the receivables would have been that much lower if the COVID impact had not happened.
Okay. And what was the government share, sir, in the channel and enterprise business, sir?
See, we directly have very limited government exposures other than, projects like metros and things like that. But a lot of it goes through contract sales to various government projects. So you could say in our enterprise business, willy-nilly about 30 to 40% goes to the government sector somewhere or the other.
Okay, 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. And is it possible, sir, to broadly define the credit profile of the client in terms of in the retail, which kind of clients we give credit, and in the enterprise business, what are the kind of clients we give credit, sir?
Yeah. In the enterprise business, it was largely more credit-oriented, where we were giving a number of ancillaries, number of fabricators, it was large engineering projects. So there was a very wide gamut of industry that we were supplying to in the enterprise part of the business. In the retail side of the business, there was credit being given again to some of the, smaller, our old clientele, whether it could have been builders, not large builders, smaller builders. It could have been regular routine influencers who were being offered a 25-day, 15-day, 30-day credit based on the relationship because that was the market practice. So this was broadly the kind of customers that we were offering credit to. But let me add a point here. If we look at the debtors as on March FY20, the figure stood at approximately around 400 crores, which has actually come down today as on end of May to around 330 crores. So there has been a substantial collections also that have happened in the month of April and May. And I'm also glad to share that in the month of April, where there was a 100% shutdown, we were able to collect over 60 crores even in the shutdown period with virtually no sales. So there was actually on the ground some movement that did happen.
Okay. So that would have helped in debt reduction also, sir.
Sorry?
That would have helped in debt reduction also, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And sir, we have some time back done a tie-up with NBFCs for channel finance. If you can explain how has that helped during the year and how much was that utilized by the channel? If any details you have.
See, we had two primary NBFCs whom we had channel financing. One was Aditya Birla and the other was a smaller company called Mintify. I think we were using about, from the Aditya Birla side, the channel financing was in the range of about 20-25 crores, and the other was much smaller. I think they have, been quite supportive, and it has moved on. And as of now, we have not seen any problems with both the partners.
Okay. Okay. Sir, can you please give the breakup of the products-wise that you generally give for the construction material and breakup, sir?
So we have broadly divided into a few categories. So we have construction material, which is around 65%. We have plumbing and sanitary ware, which is around 15%.
Okay.
Then we have the interior exterior segment, which is around 15%. And we have the irrigation and smaller electricals and some finishing products, which is around 5%.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll come back in the queue for more questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any participant who has a question may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Deepak Poddar from Sapphire Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Now, sir, you mentioned in your opening remark that about 55 to 60% of normalized sale currently we are doing, right? So when do you expect things to normalize based on the trend that we are seeing currently?
I think the challenges of opening up across is something that I think it will take a month or two to really understand. Mm-hmm. Because we are seeing very distinct patterns in our business, at least across our various geographies. We have seen that like I mentioned earlier, that at this 50%, 55% that we have sort of seen in the current one odd months of post opening up. See, one of the key things that did us good in the month of May was the irrigation segment, particularly in the Tier 2, Tier 3, which actually did pretty well, I must say, in the month of May, which really helped us shore up our volume. Now, coming monsoon months, obviously that irrigation segment will certainly come down. So we are hoping that will compensate with the newer geographies opening up. Like in the month of May, as I mentioned earlier, it was largely a sort of a Karnataka, Kerala, and a partly, what little had opened up in Andhra and Tamil Nadu. But in June, more or less, all have opened up. So there are still a fair amount of restrictions in, business activity having picked up from some of the bigger cities like Chennai and so on. Western region, which still luckily for us is a very small percentage of our volume. Bombay, though technically may have opened up this month partly, but really business and industry, there is nothing much. Luckily, it was a smaller segment. So we are very happy if this can move, this current trend can be sort of maintained in the next couple of months. We really hope to see better traction happening closer to September, October. Maybe we are looking at probably around a 70% by the calendar year end, by about November, December. If we are able to hit about 70%, I think we would be quite happy at that kind of a volume level.
So by November, December, 70-80% is what we might be looking at, right?
Yes.
Of our normalized sales. So on the retail segment, FY21, this entire, we were earlier looking at 15-20% revenue growth. So how would you like to revise down?
We would say the same 70 to 80% even in the retail segment, because there is a little more focus on individual homes. There's a lot of renovation work. So I think, as like I mentioned earlier, we'll have to see what is the buying power, the spending power of the consumer at this point of time, whether they're really going to open up purses to a lot of these kind of activities at this point of time. So like I said, it's still early days. Probably we'll get a better idea of this towards the next quarter.
Okay, still 70 to 80% is of your earlier guidance. Is that what you're saying? That you're like 12 to 15%? Is that?
It's an absolute from our FY20 levels, 70 to 80% of our FY20 levels for FY21.
Okay, 70 to 80% of our FY20.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Sure, sir. That is fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we take our next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question. You may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Pawan Kumar from Ratnatraya Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, of the 330 crores of debtors which might have been outstanding today, how much would be from retail and how much would be from enterprise and channels broadly?
Around 45 to 50% would be from the retail segment.
Okay. And do we have any kind of target on the debt side by this year end, and have we taken a moratorium?
We have not availed of any moratorium, and as of now, we had set ourselves a target of 250 to 275 crores in the last year. We were well on track on that, but got a bit sidelined by the COVID situation.
Right. So, should we expect the debt levels to be around 260 to 270 crores? That's what should be the realistic expectation by the end of FY21?
That for now.
Definitely.
Okay. And so, can you just give me a sub-breakup of the revenues between enterprise and channel?
Yeah.
How much would be enterprise and how much would be channel? Hello?
Mr. Mundra, are you still there? We are not getting a response from their line. We'll just disconnect and call them back. Ladies and gentlemen, please request you to remain connected. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We have the line for management connected.
Yes. Can you just give me the breakup between enterprise and channel part of the business, sir?
Yeah. For Q4, we did 365 crores from retail. We did 204 crores from enterprise and 98 crores from channel.
Okay. And for the year, this would be?
For the year, we did 804 crores for enterprise and 394 crores for channel.
Okay. And should we, going forward, enterprise and channel business, what should be our expectations in terms of growth and in terms of margins? I mean, we take this FY21 out of picture, but over a medium term, what are you looking forward to in a normalized business scenario?
+21. The trend is maintained.
So we'll maintain the similar kind of trend.
Yeah.
With retail continuing to gain larger share.
Okay. So the growth would not be very fast here, right? At least is that a fair expectation?
Sorry, growth is not?
Growth would not be more than maybe 5-10%. Is that a fair expectation?
In the normal times, yes. In the normal times, yes.
Okay. Thanks, Siddharth and Sukumar.
Thank you.
Join back.
Please.
Thank you. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Maulik Patel from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Few questions. One on the strategy side. Last year and the 1.5 year, we decided to focus on the balance sheet, sold off on a part of the asset, and 2 quarters back, we started focusing back on the channel part of the business. And now then this COVID thing has happened and the lockdown. Now, is there any change in, I understand that in near term you want to focus on the liquidity and the cost structures and other things. But is there any change as this COVID has led to you to think that what you could have done better or what you could do in future? Just want to some color on the strategy side.
See, if I look at COVID, it's not a routine occurrence. So one definitely has to restructure, rethink, probably engineer partly as to the way business has to be done in the current scenario. Yes, one thing, frugality and cost, I think is a mantra no organization should ever forget, whether it's a good time or a bad time. So I think that luckily, particularly in the last couple of years, we started that drive, and last year, whether it's hindsight or not, a lot of good calls were taken internally, which I think has probably will hold us better in this year, despite the dramatic events that have unfolded. In terms of learning, we are going to do business dramatically different in the future. It's too early days to say, because I think that things, once we have passed this whole crisis, which also definitely has to pass, we have seen pandemics in the past, and I think enough is, being said in various forums of the world about, this too shall pass. So I think we also firmly believe that this too shall pass. So we have to take short-term measures, maybe a medium-term measure if we're looking at maybe a year and a half or 2. But I think broadly we are on track. I don't think there's going to be any dramatic changes in our line of thought or process post maybe the year and a half that we're going to this pandemic.
Sure. And what's your experience once you open the stores in tier 3 cities, or as you mentioned earlier, that Kerala and Karnataka were one of the first one to open in the country. When the customers came up, are you trying to give them a discount and to the business, or is just a normal way of doing the business and making a similar margin what we used to do it earlier?
I think you do have a good point there. Some of the older inventories, etc., which we probably would not have tried to dispose of faster. Yes, we have done that. Because you need to cycle inventories. The inventory is a major part of our focus to reduce. So which is something more in our control. So I would say that we have done some extra discounting to, liquidate and to encash existing inventory. Yes.
And the last question, and we had talked about that in past, you have that loyalty program with various influencers, other contractor, plumber, various others. How that's been shaping? And are you doing more and more business with such influencers or so I just want to have some idea on that side.
Yeah. I think whatever we have been able to achieve in particularly smaller towns, etc., is primarily because of this. There has been loyalty program. There have been loyal customers for many, many years. So I think they have come back to us. It's a shared crisis. Nobody is being spared it. So I think they have come to us. So I think we've also been, it has paid off. In a nutshell, it has certainly paid off.
Sure. Great. Thanks. Wish you all the good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any participant who has a question may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Nath Balakrishnan from Spark Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, morning. Thanks, gentlemen, for the opportunity. I have 2 questions. My first question is on cash flow. If I look at your cash flow numbers for FY21, your operating cash flow numbers are negative. For FY20, sorry. What is your assessment of how your cash flow numbers will stack up in 21? Admittedly, on a lower scale of operations, do you think you will have positive operating cash flows?
Yeah, we anticipate that we will have a much better performance in FY21. Our entire focus is on receivables and on inventory, and we are also seeing some of the initial improvement on those happening in the month of May. On the overall debt position also, because there's an implication on debt, that will also be a focus. So definitely cash flow will be a very, very important area for us, and we will be looking to have a good cash flow next year.
Sure. So, would you have a target number, Siddharth, in terms of what percentage of EBITDA would you want to target as your operating cash flow?
Yeah, equivalent to EBITDA or possibly higher, because we should be releasing some cash flows this year. If the operations, overall operations revenues come down, we should be able to release some funds from working capital.
Understood. So from a modeling perspective, do you think it is fair to assume that you will report your EBITDA as operating cash flow for FY21?
Yeah, we can look at that for the time being.
Sure. And your the net debt number that you mentioned of 340 crores, including acceptances, is that as of March 31st or is it as of May?
As of March, 31st of March.
And what will that number be as of May, given that you have also collected 60 crores over 2 months?
Can we just get back to you on that?
Sure. Okay. And the second point I wanted to touch upon was on cost control. So I just wanted to understand, what is your total lease rental cost for FY20?
It will be around 16 crores. 16, yeah. Overall lease rental cost is around 16 crores for the year.
Oh, okay. And did you continue to pay lease rentals for April when you were shut, or you got a waiver?
I think it was a mixed bag. I would say on an average, we have managed to, pay around in the region of 50 to 60% in April.
Sure. And what is the cost reduction that we should anticipate in FY21 on this head? Because I'm sure you must be renegotiating rentals, and you alluded to that at the top of this call. So can we get some sense of where that number will settle at?
I think the process is happening. We are targeting at least a 30% reduction. But I would say you end up somewhere between around maybe a 15 to 20% overall reduction. That we are very confident of. Obviously, the landlords, as the opening starts, is when I think they'll really face the impact more and more.
Sure. Okay. So just to clarify, Sukumar, did you mention that, you will end FY21 with a net debt number of 250 crore? Did I hear you correctly?
We didn't mention that number. I think it was another participant.
That was a question. Yes.
Yeah, that was a question. We have sort of said, yes, definitely we are targeting towards that. But, that's our aspiration and a hope. Hello?
It looks like Mr. Balakrishnan line has dropped out right now. So we'll take our next question. Before we take a next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question. You may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Karthikeyan PK from Suyash Advisors.
Yeah, hi. Can you talk a bit about how you see the competition retail side now? Is it becoming easier? How are your competitors placed? Some thoughts on that. Also, some thoughts on whether the commercial terms, change in commercial terms because of insistence on higher amount of cash, does that affect the way you grow? Some thoughts on both these topics, please.
So one of the things that we have been seeing is that customers are less likely to go around shop to shop, checking for pricing and, getting competitive pricing. So they would rather, restrict that to, 1 or 2, and to stores where they possibly carry a higher amount of trust. The second thing is availability of materials. So wherever the customers feel that there can be a greater assurance of availability of material and timely delivery of material, that's where they would like to gravitate towards. So and the other aspect is in terms of availability of cash. Some of our industry players in this segment are small and unorganized and will find it difficult to have access to cash, credit lines, banks, etc. So I think it will help us during this period.
Right. And commercial terms, have you changed explicitly the commercial terms, and therefore how do you see that affecting the outlook? Could you talk about both elements? What is the change in commercial terms and likely impact on growth?
Sorry, you're not very audible actually. Could you come again?
I'm sorry. I was asking you whether you've changed the commercial terms for your buyers and for your suppliers, and how you see that impacting it. What kind of trade-off do you do with regard to growth and profitability? Some thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I think so. It's moving more on a buy on cash, sell on cash kind of a model. So that has implications in terms of margin. Some of our competitors will also be looking to liquidate inventory to generate cash, for which they may be giving very competitive pricing as well. So that impacts us also in this period.
Thank you so much, Industries.
Thank you. Anyone who has a question may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Rajat Mahajan from Malabar Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. My first part was this clarification. You mentioned in May we are doing 50-55%. Is that only retail or we are talking about the entire business here?
It is a normalized business.
It is the overall business, but if I were to break up that, actually the channel business has really spurted up quite considerably in the month of May, because one of the primary reasons we also kept that because the payment cycle was far better in that particular line of business, though it was our smallest portion technically. So this year there would be a compulsion that maybe our percentage of the channel part of the business could grow a little in this coming year because of the liquidity and the kind of payment flow that is happening in that sector.
Got it. And specifically on retail, how would that have picked up?
Retail has pretty much, as far as the city like Bangalore, Chennai, etc. goes, it was certainly down. It has not, it was down by close to, I would say maybe, because Chennai was virtually not open. But at Bangalore, we were able to do about 40-45% of our normal retail business, which is lower than that 55. So the area that we are currently most impacted is the enterprise part of the business, which is, where we supply more to the, industries and actual users and so on. So that out of the 3 sectors has been the most impacted. So retail, we are reasonably confident that by probably in another couple of months, it may pick up to that 70-80% of what we are targeting this year.
Understood. And the other commentary I wanted was on the product segments between construction or plumbing or interior, exterior. Are you seeing any specific trends? Which ones are seeing stronger pent-up demand?
It's too early days, honestly. In a 1 month or a 40-day kind of an opening up is too early because there could have been some, interior projects which had to be finished. There would have been a sudden upsurge in a particular product. I think the trend, it's too early to call.
Understood. And the last thing from my side, so when you're doing more channel, is that also mean it's more third-party sales instead of your own products?
Yes.
Understood. And any mix within that in channel? I mean, what would be the third party?
Third party sales would be close to about, I would say close to 90-95%.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Any participant who has a question may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Ankit Agarwal from Ark Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Mr. Agarwal, could you hold the phone closer to you so we can't hear you that well?
Yeah, is it better now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, hi. So, thanks for the opportunity. My first question is, sir, due to the current corona situation, things are moving to online sales. So, do we see any traction from that side?
So what we are seeing is we are getting a lot of inquiries because of our online presence. A lot of people are discovering us online. People do not necessarily want to go out. So that is helping us. So we are getting a lot of inquiries online.
Okay, so we are taking some steps and initiatives on that basis, to increase that kind of a business.
So we already have an operational, functional e-commerce website. We are also doing a lot of organic SEO activity, and we are allocating some spends towards digital marketing. We also have an internal team working towards those initiatives. So all of this has been, it's not only due to Corona. I mean, it's been ramped up now, but it's been ongoing for some time now.
Okay, fine. And also, sir, due to the current scenario, do we see any consolidation in the industry? I mean, do we see that smaller players will have some liquidity concerns?
I think let's wait for some time to see how this all shapes up. It's a little early for us to take a more definitive call on this.
Okay, understood. And my last question is, sir, as of now, we stand at 120 stores. And how should we see this number for FY21 and going forward?
As of now, we stand at 115 stores. So post-reporting period, we have closed another 5 stores.
Okay.
We will get back to you with the revised store count number.
So we are done with the consolidating of the stores then?
I would not say completely right now, but we are evaluating the network.
And when do we foresee to open new stores, if any, this year?
I think it's a little early. I think if things shape up,
clearly I would say that opening new stores will not happen till the third or the fourth quarter, if at all. So we are now looking at rationalizing cost structures and so on. So I think we would like to see that we are able to, squeeze the maximum out of the given stores so that we don't have cash burn in a year like this.
Okay, understood. Yeah, that's all from me, and best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Siddharth Rajpurohit from JHP Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity again. Sir, online sales, what would be the percentage of sales that will be happening through online? It is very initial, I understand. But just an indicator.
It's small right now. The overall percentage is very small. But what happens is that a lot of people discover us, and it helps us in walk-ins to our physical stores. And that is actually what we really want to drive. We're not looking at online sales as a true online transaction. But whatever helps us get better walk-ins to our physical stores as well.
Okay. So does it allow this price discovery at our store, which attracts the client?
This is a price discovery. It's a catalog discovery. It is convenience. It is the fact that you're dealing with a larger organization. Many a times we see people just for the sheer convenience of being able to order and having it shipped anywhere. So we have been able to ship products outside our area of geographic operations as well. Some people we have seen orders coming in from abroad who want to order in something for their home. So it's been a mixed bag actually.
Okay. But we have launched, when was this initiative launched, sir?
In around a year and a half.
And incrementally, we have seen the acceptance, sir?
Yes. So our traction to our website is going up. For some of the important keywords, we have started ranking up higher. So it's we are more focusing on the organic part of how we build up our search. How we figure up on search. So it does take time actually on that.
And sir, can you give the gross block number if it's handy?
Sorry?
The gross block number for the year?
Gross block, is it? So our net block was 222. Net block was...
Gross block was 222.
Just one second. $275. It was 275 crores. Gross block was 275.
Okay, sir. And are we looking for any further sale of assets, sir?
For the sale of assets.
For the sale of assets? No.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and all the best.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Pawan Kumar from Ratnatraya Capital. Please go ahead.
Just wanted to check up on your results. There is some right to use asset of 33.81 crores. Does it correspond to your lease liability or what is it exactly?
Sorry, your voice was not very clear. Can you repeat your question, please?
On the balance sheet, sir, there is a right of use asset of around 33.81 crores.
Right.
So I was just wondering what does that correspond to exactly?
See, this is pursuant to that Ind AS requirement on rentals. So, so starting last year, companies which have rental properties, Ind AS mandates us to capitalize this amount. And then, effectively depreciate it into our the rentals into through interest and depreciation. So it's more of I would say, notional line item there in terms of the capitalized value of the rental.
Okay. Fine with that. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Saumil Mehta from BNP Paribas Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. In terms of now, with more store closures which are inefficient, should we look at starting maybe end of FY21 much more structural double-digit margin in the retail business? Because we are also showing volume growth, we have had cost efficiencies, and some of the inefficiencies in the system will be out.
Get guided, we are as of now not looking for a double-digit margin. Again, it's little early for us to comment on next year, but we're not envisaging a double-digit margin right now.
Okay, so I think our prime focus would be to keep the 8% margin guidance and do more of volume growth and take market share. That would be a better strategy.
Absolutely.
Okay, and in terms of the ROC profile of the channel and enterprise business, how do we look at that? Because working capital cycle, unless and until it comes down very, very sharply, the ROC of that business looks to be a bit suboptimal, if I may use that. So how do we look at the ROC profile of the channel and enterprise business?
So this year, a lot of our focus will be to reduce our debtors and inventory. A substantial portion of that will get released from channel and enterprise segment as well. So if you would have also seen that last couple of quarters, our margins in this segment has also been inching up. So we also want to ensure that that business also continues to stay healthy. So that's a focus area for us as well.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Siddharth Raj Purohit from JHP Securities. Please go ahead.
Sir, one last question, sir. Sir, what portion of the total 16 crores of the lease rental that we pay, what will be the amount below EBITDA, sir? Will be break into depreciation and interest?
Yeah.
What will we get about it?
Yeah, we have calculation in there. Yeah. So for the year, the rent has effectively been understated by 11 crores in the P&L.
Okay.
And depreciation has been overstated by 9.6 crores and interest by 2.8 crores. The net effect is 1.1 crores. Is our profitability has been negatively impacted because of this Ind AS.
Okay. Correct. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was the last question. I now hand the floor back to Mr. Siddharth Mundra for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope we have been able to give you some sense of our performance. As we have stated that while May was as per we were able to operate and we were able to open up a few locations, we will continue to keep looking and be watchful of the situation going forward, and we will keep you updated as the situation unfolds. In case you require any further details, you may please contact us or our investor relation advisor, Strategic Growth Advisors. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the management.